Our moderator, our Governing Board President, Tiffany Arenas, will be asking questions of the candidates, and then you as audience will have an opportunity to also ask a question. And we ask that you, there's paper and pencils, and if you'll write your questions down and then give them to Hilda, our board secretary. So with that, again, welcome and thank you for your time and interest in Creighton School District.
Good evening. Thank you for being here, participating in this process. I'm going to give each board candidate 1 minute to introduce themselves, and then we'll get into the questions. Paul, can we start with you?
Hi, my name is Paul Bork. I live in, my wife and I, who's in the back there with our little girl, we live in the Loma Linda neighborhood. I work for a nonprofit organization called New Global Citizens. I've been fortunate to work with a number of the principals and teachers and kids and parents in the district for the past couple of years with a few different educational nonprofits, and I'm really looking forward to getting more involved and hopefully being part of the board to help push our district into the right direction.
Thank you, Paul. Ildi? Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. My name is Ildi Lasker-Kerr. I'm currently serving on the board. I was appointed almost 2 years ago in a vacant seat, and I've had the privilege of working with our current board members as well as all of our principals as we've tried to improve student achievement and really shape the direction of the district. So I'm honored to be able to run for this seat. My passion is about student learning, but it isn't only about increasing test scores. It's really thinking about the whole child and how can we ensure that every student that is in our school district achieves at the highest level possible, and that we prepare them for college and career beyond. So I'm excited to see everyone tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Ildi. Donna?
Hi, my name is Donna Young. I've been a resident of Phoenix Homestead for 15 years. That's just south of here. Prior to that, I worked with the developmentally disabled population in 3 different states for over 10 years. I am currently a CPS or DCS adoption supervisor. I've been with that organization for 18 years. Basically, many years ago, before I went into the Navy, I worked with a special program at Tuskegee College, which is in Tennessee, as an ESL instructor. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Carl?
Good evening, everyone. I am Carl Saragosa. As a father of an amazing 3.5-year-old, I'm compelled to run for the Creighton School Board once again. I've had some experiences over the past 10 years that lead me to believe that school board leadership matters more than ever. I was a teacher in the Isaac District for several years. I taught 8th grade social studies. That was an amazing experience, but after 2 years I was told those kids, is the language I heard, didn't deserve a social studies education. I'm here to make sure that my daughter and all Creighton children get awesome opportunities so that they develop as critical thinkers and have the competencies to develop and choose their own path in life, whether it be through college or career.
Thank you, Carl. We have 4 questions that we're going to ask the candidates. Again, they'll have a minute to answer the question, and we're going to rotate, so the first question will go to Ildi, the next question will go to Donna, then Carl, and back to Paul. Then we will take questions from the audience. We already have a stack here, but if any of you come up with any other questions, please bring them forward to Hilda. And again, we're going to combine questions if they're related to one topic. And also, we're going to only ask questions that all of the board members can answer, so it can't be just one candidate specific question. It has to be a question that's something that's relevant for all of the candidates. And also, because of the time constraint, we can't ask all the candidates the questions from the audience. We do have a board meeting at 7 o'clock if you want to stick around for that. All right, the first question is for Ildi. Why do you want to be a board member in the Creighton School District?
Well, I want to continue to be a board member in the Creighton School District. So there are almost 2 years that I've gotten a chance to spend on the board, I feel are really just the starting point in reshaping the direction that we want our district to go into. I think we've begun a lot of great work in terms of putting ballot initiatives out to our voters to increase support for our schools and for our teachers. We set some incredible goals around teacher retention, focusing on specialized programs in each of our sites. And so while I've been part of that work, I would like to continue to do that work. My passion, as I said, is about making sure that all of our students have their needs met. And I feel like I have a unique role to play on the board. And so I'm eager to stay where I am and help serve the community as much as I can.
Thank you, Ildi. Donna, same question. Why do you want to be a board member in the Creighton School District?
Oh, let's see. Prior to this, I was a board member for 8 years. I do have my master's in boardmanship from the Arizona School Board Association. I believe the board needs members that are members, that work for the common good, that are pragmatic, that deal with community input. They have no special interests or want anything out of it other than to serve and basically have the children's best interest at heart, and their decisions are based on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Carl, same question. Why do you want to be a board member in the Creighton School District?
I think there are a lot of roles that community members can play to support schools. I'm specifically interested in becoming a board member for Creighton District because I believe that the school board would benefit, the school district would benefit by having more parent voice and educator voice coming through at that position. I don't believe that we currently are doing everything we can as a district to hear from the voices of parents and community members. I've knocked on close to 3,000 doors with my team this summer, talking to them about our schools. There are a lot of gaps, and I believe that I would serve the district well by closing those gaps, by creating more opportunities for folks to invest in our district and make sure that our programs are focused on making sure all our students are critical thinkers and capable of developing as they see fit.
Thank you, Carl. And Paul, why do you want to be a board member in the Creighton School District?
So I'd like to be a board member, much like what Carl said, because I have a daughter and another daughter on the way that will soon, in the next couple of years, be in the district. And I want to be a part of making it the best place it can be for my girls. I grew up going to public schools, and I would like for them to do the same. I really believe in them, and so I want to make sure that everything that I do as a community member I'm putting into it, and the school board is part of that. Much like the neighborhood associations that I'm part of, we really are a community, and so I really feel that being a voice that builds consensus and works together to make the best decisions for the students and the community members is really what it's about. And so I feel that I can bring those skills. I work for an organization that preaches that, and so collaboration, critical thinking, and working towards a common goal to solve problems and be the best we can be is really what I believe is.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, next question, and this we'll start with Donna. What do you see as the strengths of the district?
The strength in the district, in my opinion, is its diversity, not only along different ethnic groups coming together, it's also age groups and different socioeconomics. I think that makes us stronger rather than having all one type of person. The mixture makes us stronger. It also causes challenges, but I think with the community and the school district coming together, that would make us a lot stronger. We have a great administration. That is a very big strength in the district. We also had Wested here dealing with bringing student scores up, teaching rigor in our classrooms. That's a strength. A lot of the teachers and administration still in the district utilize those techniques. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Carl, same question. What do you see as strengths of the district?
So I'd like to answer this in two parts. I think when I think of the strengths of the district, I think of the strengths of the school district, and I think that there are different strengths of the community that create in district boundaries. Much like Donna said, I do believe that we have strength in diversity. We have amazing neighbors that look out for one another, that care about their children, and bring a lot of excitement to my life and to the lives of others. I think some of the strengths of our school district include our courage. I know this district has been innovative. They've stepped out and tried new things, and that's not always easy to do, especially in government or public education. So I want to applaud Creighton District for being innovative and courageous.
Thank you, Carl. Paul, what do you see as strengths of the district?
Much like the other two, the diverse community that we live in, but also growing opportunities that this city and this part of the city is becoming bigger. Phoenix was just recently listed as one of the top 5 cities for young people, young families to move into, and I think that's a great opportunity because as more and more young families move in and those kids come to these schools, we're going to be able to really put out a wonderful, hardworking workforce and skilled citizens. So I think the location that we're in is ripe for opportunity with everything, and we have such wonderful kids. I've gotten a chance to work with many of them over the years. The teachers are hardworking, the principals are smart, and really dedicated to what we do. And so I think that those are all the pluses and the great things about our district.
Thank you, Paul. Ildi, what do you see as strengths of the district?
Well, I would say first and foremost, it's the fact that we have passion for our students, and that is our parents have passion for their students and their outcomes, our teachers, our administrators. I think our governing board, there wouldn't be so many of us in the room tonight if we weren't passionate about making sure that we were meeting the needs of all of our kids. So that's, I think, first and foremost. I agree that the diversity of our student population in our community is a huge asset. And the fact that we have a bilingual community, not just in our foreign language immersion program at Biltmore Prep, but the fact is if you think about all of our immigrant students, all of our English language learners, once they become English proficient, they walk into 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade being bilingual, which is a huge asset for our school district, as well as our community. And I think the last thing that I would focus on is just the support. We have an incredible opportunity to continue to engage our parents through APTTs and other avenues. And when we reach out to parents, they respond.
Thank you, Ildi. Next question, the first one goes to Carl. What do you see as challenges facing the district in the next few years?
I think we have a number of challenges. First and foremost, I don't know if it's first and foremost, but it's the one everyone talks about is funding. The one that I definitely want to address is the challenge between like the community investment in our schools. I just don't see that. We have a great district and caring professionals. We have wonderful families, but we have a hard time passing overrides. As I've talked to hundreds of families throughout the district, many families choose other schools, whether they're other district schools or other charter schools. So I think the biggest challenge is building community, making sure that we are cohesive and inclusive, and we have processes where everyone feels that they have a voice. That's the biggest challenge that I'd like to address.
Thank you, Carl. Paul, what do you see as challenges facing the district in the next few years?
Well, money is always an issue. So budgets are a problem, and as we've seen in the state, it's been very problematic to educate students with money. We spend $8,000, the lowest in the country, with a few other states, about half of what the top states spend on a child. So I think those are obviously big problems. But I think we need to continue strengthening the community bonds and making sure that we have a board that is about continuing to build consensus and work together. The schools, what's good for the communities, what's good for the kids, what's good for the teachers, all impact one another. And so making sure that we're continuing to move towards something, common goals, and not letting issues get into the way that can get the boards, the administrations fighting against each other.
Thank you. Ildi, what do you see as challenges facing the district in the next few years?
I would agree with the previous two statements that our access to funding to adequately educate our students when we have a state legislature and a governor who wants to keep over $300 million out of the classroom that is due to our students based on voter protected actions is appalling, which also makes it difficult because that means that local school districts have to go out to ask for increases in overrides, which we've supported as a board for both the capital and maintenance and operation override on the ballot for November 4th as well. But that has a real direct relationship to our ability to hire, recruit, and retain our highly qualified and most effective classroom teachers. And at the end of the day, it's the teacher in the classroom that's going to make the difference in student achievement. And so it isn't just more money for budgets, it's being able to identify the highest quality candidates, get them into our district, and keep them here, which I think is going to be our long-term issue in the district.
And last, Donna, what do you see as challenges facing the district in the next few years?
I think it's consensus money. We, as a board and as a school district, prior to the so-called recession, were working to be very competitive in our teacher pay with the recession, and what Ellie said was with, us being cut back and other schools being cut back, it is a big challenge to get qualified, highly competitive teachers that have experience. Also, I see charter schools. They take away from our enrollment. The community is behind Creighton schools. They did pass a 10% override. History shows that if you put one bond at a time out there, the likelihood of it passing increases tremendously. The community said 2 years ago, you're getting greedy, 15%. It didn't pass. They're not listening to the experts now.
All right, now we have audience questions. The first one touches on some items that just came up. Last night on the news, a coalition of educators described staff retention as a crisis, with 527 unfilled positions in Arizona. Other than a pay raise and starting with the premise of hope is not a strategy, what would you do to improve working conditions and address staff retention in Creighton School District? I forgot who starts first. You remind me. Okay. Thank you. Paul, staff retention.
Well, clearly, teacher pay is at the root of all of that. Teachers, it's really amazing to me. Teachers are the only profession that are expected to solve every problem and paid, minimal for it. Everything that they do is never good enough, and so we really have to, one, support them financially, and so that they can continue to work and do what they do. They're passionate, and we want to foster that passion. but also supporting them in other ways. I think we can find creative ways to solve those problems. So that also means being competitive not only at the state level. I've talked with professors at Mary Lou Fulton that have talked about how a lot of ASU, with ASU being a school where kids come, a lot of students stay, regardless of what degree that is. So it's really important that we can be competitive, work with the communities to make sure that we have something that is, tasty for the teachers to want to stay in the state.
Building staff retention.
So obviously everyone would love to get paid more for the job that they do, but teachers are notoriously known for not coming into this profession for the money. So very specifically, I think the number one thing we would need to be doing, I think we've begun doing this, is giving teachers flexibility and autonomy in the classroom, giving them ownership and power about what they do, understanding that we have big goals and non-negotiables, and we have to hold ourselves accountable to the achievement of our students, but then really freeing them up from some of the constraints that they feel that they have currently. Teachers stay because they are rewarded by praise and feedback because they're doing good work, that they have flexibility and autonomy in their classroom, and they feel like that work is valued. And so this board has already begun that process, but there's a lot more that we can be doing to ensure that our teachers, as well as our leaders, feel like given the parameters that we create for them, they have the flexibility as professionals to do the work we're asking them to do.
Donna, staff retention.
I agree, pay, but since we're not going there, after Wested was teaching that, they did hire quite a few of our principals, vice principals, and teachers that were very good. Those teachers felt they were worthwhile to the new organization. You need to raise morale and give them opportunities for advancement within the system. If you're going to be in a job that you want advancement and there's a ceiling up there, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to go somewhere else. Also, the support, and more than just support, the helping with teachers helping new teachers and giving them a lot of support with the peers and with the school administration. Thank you.
Carl, teacher retention.
Yeah, so I thought I knew a little bit about teaching when I was a teacher and then through my perspective as a school board member, but now that I'm a father, that's definitely changed. I know that our teachers do more than just teach our kids, but they're the ambassador to the community. They are amazing. What I think is at the root of retention, it's actually respect. Part of that would be funds and salary, but I think what I'm hearing through a number of conversations, not just with teachers here in Creighton, but all across the country, is that teachers don't feel respected, they don't feel listened to. We don't have clear processes on how we want to take that information, what we do with that information, if we even create those opportunities. So I think what we could do and what we should do is create a more transparent process, listen to teachers, take their feedback, and we can match that with what we think they might be interested in. But I definitely think we should align this with teacher morale first and foremost, and then retention of
Thank you, Carl. Okay, the next question from the audience is, what role does arts education play in the Creighton School District? Building?
Well, arts is integral to developing a well-rounded student, right? Arts is an opportunity to not only engage students in a kinesthetic way, if we're talking about some of the fine arts and music and band, as well as just dance as an example. It's also a vehicle to deliver standards-based instruction. And so it doesn't have to be seen as an isolated other activity. Arts should have as much prominence and importance as does physical education, science and social studies into our daily lessons, because if we just focus on reading and mathematics, we might get short-term gains in student achievement, but we won't get the long-term results of creating students that are able to integrate everything that they know in unique ways. And so I think gives them the exposure to some amazing opportunities that we would be really limiting them if we didn't. And certainly arts is funded by having access to resources, so we need more.
Thank you, Ildi. Donna, arts in the Creighton School District?
I'll admit, I have no art gene. I cannot draw worth a darn. I can't sing everything, but I love it. I love the arts, and I think it's very important. We brought up critical thinking earlier. If you look in history and you follow a timeline of the literature, the politics going along, and the art, they're all interconnected. If you have a person that is well educated, they can see the whole scope of why this piece of sculpture was made, or why this book was written, or why this painting was. Arts are fantastic. All kids should be exposed, and like I was, forced to learn, and at least to appreciate it. Thank you.
Carl, arts in Creighton?
Yeah, I think arts is a great vehicle to bring learning to life. I don't know that it plays the prominent role in Creighton District that it should. I know over the past years, through pressure from a number of different forces, we have focused much more on math and literacy, which are important, and that's come at the detriment of arts. I know when I drop off my daughter at the Big Minds on Biltmore Prep campus, I'm delighted to hear James' band playing. When I hear it, I love it, I smile, I know it creates a different sense of learning, and I'd love to see more arts integrated into our practices here in Creighton District.
Paul, arts in Creighton?
I really believe in the arts. I do have artistic genes, well, as I think I do. I played music for most of my life, and it's played a huge role. I really actually believe that things like music foster critical thinking and analytical skills at certain levels. I just saw a thing that playing music actually lights up the brain the same way that speaking a second language does. So it's a really, really important thing. I think I know that there's direct correlations between math and music. For instance, when you can read music, you can speak in a language to any person. You can put sheet music in front of people in 5 different languages. They might not speak the same language, and they all can play the same song. I think building that in kids at a young age is extremely important. I think art is history, art is math, it's science, it's language, it's everything. It's just a more creative and different style than what maybe traditionally we like to think of it as.
All right, next question. What role do community members have in making policy? The person that wrote this also wanted you to touch on teachers, parents, businesses, and clergy. First question goes to Donna. What role do community members have in making policy?
Tiffany, can you give me the end of the question after you said this includes?
Sure. Teachers, parents, businesses, and clergy.
Thank you. Okay, community makes a big difference. And community is where we draw our student population from. Without the community, we wouldn't have Creighton School District. How they make policy. They've shown it by passing or defeating overrides and capital bonds. Teachers, they all play in it. It's no person or group of people, teachers, clergy, the business, the community members that live there that don't have students, the community members that live there that have students. You can't look at one as being more important to the other. They're all a slice of the pie. If you don't have the support of everything and everybody, your pie is not going to be whole. And and ignoring certain groups, you're going to have unrest and you're not going to have a whole school district.
Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, to Donna's point, we don't have a whole. I think there are things that community members do. I think there are, I guess, systems and processes we set up right now. I think we're very passive and we give community members an opportunity to vote. But I think our best thinking comes when we are very active in creating the opportunities for community to participate. I take it back to the committee that was formed when we had Squaw Peak School and we were dealing with the big challenge of enrollment and academics. And in that opportunity, there were business and clergy and parents and community members and neighbors and teachers, and everyone had an opportunity to give input. And as a result, the district responded, transformed that school, and that set off a whole set of dominoes that now we have the Biltmore Preparatory Academy with a 4-language immersion track, and it's, I think, a very successful school. So I think when we are active and we align all these pieces, we have better success.
Thank you, Carl. Paul, what role do community members have in making policy?
Creating a space for voice, I think it's important that your voice can be heard, and then also on the flip of that, it's important to speak out. So teachers, community members, making sure that their voices are heard about things. For businesses, investment, where the students that come out of here, they're going to be buying things, they're going to be the workforce, they're going to be the community members. So making sure that the investment from the community is being put into the schools. And then, as Carl said, is being active. You have to be a part of it, you have to get your hands in and make sure you're a part of it, because if you just sit back and don't do anything, you can't complain when things are not going the way you'd like them to be.
Hildy, what role do community members have in making policy?
I think community members play the vital role of helping direct the policy that we as governing board members should be creating in response to the needs that are generated from the community, whether that's classroom teachers, business, clergy, parents, and frankly, most importantly, our students. Right? They are the ones who should be telling us the needs of our district by school, because it will vary based on the different campuses that we have and the local communities there. Unfortunately, I think I agree with Carl that community members only know that they can engage when we've done a good job communicating to them their opportunities. Right now, there are very limited access to the governing board and to the decision-making process. You know, we have public comment at board meetings, which is very threatening to a lot of our community. We have some limited engagement in terms of community connection and community council meetings, but it seems like the same parents and members continue to come, and we appreciate them, but we don't have new voices attending. So I think we need to do a better job engaging our community.
Thank you, Hildy. Sorry to cut everyone off. I'm trying to be fair to everybody and make sure we stay to 1-minute responses. Next question. First, we'll go to Carl. How do you plan to vertically articulate in a non-unified district?
Thanks for the question. I think one of the challenges and opportunities we have in Creighton is figuring out how to prepare all children to be successful in their life. And that means, and I know we've done a lot of work already to align on the front end with our pre-K 0 to 5 providers. We don't have a unified system. We've tried a number of ways to collaborate with neighboring districts and with our high school feeder district. I think we need to actually have much more collaboration between governing boards and cabinets. I know that this does happen from school site to school site, but that's all dependent on time and leadership. But we don't really have the policies in place to connect all those dots. I'm excited to work with board members in our feeder pattern here in Creighton District.
Thank you, Carl. Paul. I'll repeat it for everyone. So next it goes to Paul. How do you plan to vertically articulate in a non-unified district?
I would say working with the high schools that we feed into, working with the other districts around us, learning what is best practices and taking the best ideas and implementing them, and then strengthen the communication between everyone involved.
Thank you. Ildi, how do you plan to vertically articulate in a non-unified district?
First, let's define what vertical articulation means for those in the audience that might not understand that education speak. It basically means our district talking to Phoenix Union High School District about what we want our students to be able to know and do when they enter in ninth grade, and what would they need to be able to do by the time they graduate from high school. So part of that is really just opening up the lines of communication between the governing board, but certainly helping to facilitate conversations between our district administration and the district administration in Phoenix Union. I think I've already started to do that just because of my specialized position in our state policy. I think part of it is also participating in larger community events like the Striving Together Partnership, which our district is a part of along with Phoenix Union, which gives us more opportunities to dialogue about those important things that we want our students to know and be able to do. But bottom line, it comes down to communication.
Thank you, Ildi. Donna, how do you plan to vertically articulate in a non-unified district?
Okay, I think one of the most important things is having our students ready for ninth grade in high school. One of the biggest complaints I used to get from teachers in the high school situation that got our students was their lack of critical thinking, their lack of being able to do this or that. If we prepare our students and they're top students, then, working with other school districts, like the Phoenix Union High School District, should be very easy. We did have a program, or they did, where they had Gateway Community College working for a high school diploma and a community college diploma at the same time, really getting credits, and keeping the lines of communication course open. We used to talk a lot to the superintendent of Camelback. So communication
Thank you,
preparing
Donna.
students.
Okay. Let's have a reconcile some of these questions. If anyone else has a question, this is going to be the last one before closing statements, so get to writing if you have any thoughts. So, now I forgot who started. Paul, okay. It's been a long day already, I'm sure for many of us. So Paul, how will your service on the school board in Creighton make a difference?
That's a good question. I think coming from a place of where I want to see the district grow, I have a vision, but I don't have any agenda. I want to see our district become a great place for my daughters, and so I think that I bring a very good perspective from having worked with schools, teachers, principals, superintendents across the country, a very diverse population, as well as great ideas. I want to take the best ideas. What is the best district doing in the country? Why can't we do that? I think that also my ability to work with others, build consensus is going to be really impactful. I don't have all the answers, and I'm not going to tell people that I have all the answers, but I'm willing to learn and be part of the community to really do what I can to hear what everyone else thinks is good, and then also wonder and make sure that that's what I think is best for my daughter and the kids in the district.
Thank you, Paul. Ildi, how will your service on the Creighton board make a difference?
Well, there are three important places where I hope that the service that I've given already has made a difference and that it will continue. And the first is to improve engagement in terms of our process by engaging more of our community members and really having a greater investment into our school district. I think that that's a critical need. As a governing board member, we serve a very unique role. I think the second is ultimately to improve student outcomes. We want to accomplish our goals, not for the sake of accomplishing the goal, but for making sure that our students have the opportunities that we all want for them. I think the last component is really, I want to make a difference for teachers. I want to bring back the value that they inherently should have in the role that they serve. But at the same time, I want to make it really clear that we're all working to accomplish a lot of hard goals, and we're going to have to do that together. But I think a huge piece of our challenge and our opportunity is really engaging our teaching staff.
Thank you, Ildi. Donna, how will your service on the Creighton board make a difference?
Throughout my lifetime, I have worked and lived in many states. I've been educated in 3 different ones, plus some courses in a college in the Navy. And with that pragmatic look at what is going on, I'm involved in the community in Phoenix Homestead and have been very involved for a long time. I don't vote with the crowd. I vote for always with the students in mind first. I always think of the students and what will help them in their success, not only in Creighton, but in high school and in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Carl, do you want me to read
I as a parent and former educator, I think we bring a certain sense of urgency and leadership that's needed to the district. Over the summer, my campaign team and I have knocked on close to 3,000 doors. We've had hundreds of conversations with families and educators about the opportunities for our district, for our community, and I think that the way people campaign and present themselves for this opportunity is indicative of the type of service they will bring. So I think how my service would make a difference is I've already started to bridge the gap between what I see as a huge opportunity, and that's engaging and investing in our community in our schools at a much deeper level. I believe I can add a ton more to make sure we're focused on what matters. I know I think focus a lot on the right things, but I think specifically I can help bridge the community divide.
Thank you, Carl. Ildi, next question starts with you. Describe your strategy for working productively and effectively with other board members.
Well, so part of the strategy is coming to board meetings. I think that our opportunity to have a dialogue is in a public forum in front of our community. And it's really the only way that we can engage in a dialogue in order to maintain open meeting laws and such. But I think coming to the board meeting, being prepared, asking open-ended questions, soliciting true, authentic feedback from other board members, and then working together to try to problem solve based on the needs of our district. I think our current board is quite excellent in that none of us have an individual agenda on this board. We are all here because we want to focus on improving the outcomes for all of our kids. I think it's easier to have that open conversation and that dialogue and working productively with one another when that's the case. And so I would hope that as this board continues to evolve, that it maintains that focus on what's good for all kids. And from tonight's conversation, it sounds like that's certainly the case, but I will continue to do that work.
Thank you, Ildi. Donna, describe your strategy for working productively and effectively with other board members.
Okay. The big thing is to cooperate with others. In the past, I might not have voted the same as everyone else, but that was my opinion. They have theirs. We still got along. I have an excellent in the 8 years I served on the board, I missed 3 board meetings in 8 years. So I am always there. I do prepare for the board meetings, read everything. If I have questions, I get the questions answered prior to going to the board meeting. So at least I have some background on what's going to happen and what's going to vote, what is the vote about. I really don't know what else to say. I consider this almost like a second job. It might not be a paid job, but I try to give it my all and 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Carl, describe your strategy for working productively and effectively with other board members.
I have experience to look back on as board president. I think I was a collaborative leader. I found myself in the minority on a number of issues, but I still created space to make sure every board member had an opportunity to share his or her thoughts without time restrictions. I think coming to board meetings prepared also helps. I think what I would do differently would be to meet with the board members one-on-one and just have regular conversations and build relationships. I don't think I did that well enough in my first term. So moving forward, my strategy would be to develop personal relationships with board members so that I always make sure that we're thinking of these things and not taking it personally. Like these are all people who want to serve and do good for our community, and I want to remember that.
Thank you, Carl. Paul, describe your strategy for working productively and effectively with other board members.
As I've mentioned a number of times, consensus building is, I think, the most important thing. And from listening to everybody here, I think there's a lot more that we agree on than disagree on. So it's really about the processes of listening. I don't normally say you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you speak. And so I think that understanding perspective is probably where we get most bogged down. And so finding the ways to communicate clearly so that we all know that we're on the same page. We're not working against each other. We're working together for the kids, for the teachers, and for the community. And so that's the way that I would approach it.
Thank you, Paul. Next question. We start with Ildi. Donna? Thank you.
I'm not happy to take it, but.
How do you see your role as a governing board member in supervising the superintendent, the only employee who reports directly to the board?
Okay, role was supervising the superintendent. Okay, I know the governing board does do the superintendent's evaluation yearly. As far as meeting with the superintendent weekly for a scheduled meeting, which Dr. Boyle does set up, and asking questions, discussing various school issues, good, bad, and different. And also, but I don't believe the role of the governing board is, look at it this way, we pay Dr. Boyle good money to be a superintendent. She has more experience in education than I'll ever have. It's not my role to tell her what to do.
Thank you, Donna.
Okay.
Carl, how do you see your role as a governing board member in supervising the superintendent, the only employee who reports to the board?
I think one of the most important responsibilities and levers the school board has is the relationship it has with the superintendent. What that means though, for like to the question you asked specifically, I don't believe that the governing board member itself, him or herself, has that authority. It's what the board does and decides as a whole. That being said, I think it's important to have clear expectations for the superintendent. Make sure superintendent knows how to demonstrate that success, and have regular communication with the superintendent. So that would mean, for me, making sure to have that regular communication, reference those goals, make sure we're staying on task, asking what is needed to reach those goals. I think that's a very important role that the governing board should bring every week.
Thank you, Carl. Paul, how do you see your role as a governing board in supervising the superintendent, the only employee who reports to the board?
Well, Dr. Boyle's been here for a while, and I trust her. She knows what she's doing. She's the expert. I'm not. And so when it comes to supervising, in my work career, what I found to be the most effective way to supervise others is to support them and to ask questions, to offer up fresh ideas, but ultimately to be there and be there for them and find what they need to do their job with the best abilities that they can. And then I think communicating is really a big part of that, making sure that everyone understands the relationship, what's going on, and being in constant communication to where the best work can be done by everybody.
Thank you, Paul. Ildi, how do you see your role as a governing board in supervising the superintendent, excuse me, the only employee who reports to the board?
So evaluation and supervision really should be about improving the professional and providing them the support that they need to continue to grow. And no matter how effective we are in our jobs, each one of us can learn from new opportunities and continue to stretch ourselves. And so I think I certainly agree with Carl that as an individual, we play a role on the board around establishing the goals that we have for our superintendent and the district, for evaluating the superintendent on their performance that is based on the behaviors that are aligned to their national expectations of their professional standards. We recently just redid the superintendent's evaluation to really align our expectations as a district, and I think effectively implementing that is a long way to support the superintendent. But at the end of the day, just like with our classroom teachers, when we provide feedback to the superintendent in a variety of ways, it's also incumbent upon us as a board to provide the support.
Thank you, Ildi. Well, that concludes all the questions from the audience. So now all the board members will have, I'm used to being the board facilitator. All the candidates will now have a minute to kind of wrap up their thoughts and let you know why they want your vote. So, Carl, we'll start with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Carl Zaragoza, running for Creighton School Board. I think I bring, I definitely know I bring urgency that only a parent and an educator can bring to the needs that our kids have. We have challenges in this district, and we have challenges within our own school system, and I want to address them. I have a track record of addressing challenging situations. I think I do it respectfully. I've learned a lot in the last several years, so I can do it better. And I think if anything is indicative of how I will serve, it will be my previous service and campaigning this summer, asking people directly for their support. I ask for your continued support and ask you to vote Zaragoza on 10-9 or 11-4, however you vote. Thank you.
Paul, your closing statements.
My name is Paul Bork. I live in the Longwood neighborhood, and I bring passion, commitment, community mindset. I'm a continuous learner, and I think that's what we're ultimately trying to instill in the students. And so, oftentimes the best teachers are the best students. And so I think that I bring a fresh set of ideas, and I want to do what I can to make this a thriving district. I want this to be a place that takes the ideas that are the best, that make other districts great, and bring them to our students so that we can really move up and create a community that is holistic and a place where we have wonderful, what we do and continue to foster such wonderful students that come out of this district.
Thank you, Paul. Ildi, your closing statement.
Since we're introducing ourselves as if you hadn't been sitting here all night, I'm Ildi Lasker-Kerr, and I'm running for governing board. I am a product of public education in Arizona, and I'm an English language learner, which often surprises people. I believe that all students can learn if we give them the support that is required to reach them to that level. Part of that is creating high expectations for everyone in our system, students, teachers, parents, community members, and our governing board. And I think as a current governing board member, I've tried to really help develop the space and the opportunity for our classroom teachers and our administrators to take risks, to take ownership of the work that they do in their classrooms, and to really empower them to improve. But at the end of the day, I'm all about educational excellence for each one of our students. And I think we do that through strong communication and collaboration as a board member, as a community member. I think that those are vital to our success, and we can't do it alone.
Thank you, Ildi. Donna, your closing statement?
Hi again, I'm Donna Young. I believe children are our future. We need to educate them. We need to prepare them, not only for them to go into business, but they are our future. Without good education, without critical thinking, we, as a state, as a community, will fail. We need to educate kids. Before I mentioned, I have experience. I have a master in boardsmanship. That means I have continued to take courses and breakout sessions on boardsmanship. That is how I got it from the Arizona School Board Association. Not only do I have experience, I cooperate with others, other board members, other administrators, teachers, and the community. Not everyone can say that with a straight face. I make up my own mind on what is best for the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. To all the candidates, thank you very much for running for office. It's great to see democracy at its best when there's competition for school board races. Some of you may know that every election year there are hundreds of school board positions that no one runs for across the state. So we're very lucky in Creighton that we have several people running for multiple positions, and that we have people who are passionate and who are interested in running and serving our community. So I want to commend all of you for stepping up to the plate and running, because it's a big deal. And thank you for all of you in the audience for being here, and feel free to mingle and get to know the candidates even more before our board meeting. Thank you very much.